And welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission for Monday, October 17th, 2022.
Recording in progress.
Time is now 7:06 p.m. Do a roll call vote since some of our members are remote.
Eric Harris here.
Mike Greco here.
Katie Grace.
Katie Desley here.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay, and before we get into our agenda, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the passing of Louis Decino. It's been 1 year. And he is still missed. So meeting minutes, August 1st, 2022, and August 15th, 2022.
I looked at August 1st. Looks good. This on discussion item number 5, there was a little small typo down there, but besides that,
What was the typo?
Mr. Zis, it said state instead of stated.
Okay, stated.
Yeah.
What?
Mr. Greco?
Could you repeat that? I couldn't
Yeah.
hear.
So that was.
Which one is?
Yeah.
5. Thank you.
Katie Grace, any comments for August 1st?
No comments.
I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes for August 1st with the amendment.
Still move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Katie Desley, aye.
And Tracy Sharkey, aye. August 15th. Really wish you would have brought the baby.
I have questions on that one.
Okay.
Structurally, it's probably typos, but it starts off at the bottom of the first page with old business. You go to page, next page, it has new business. Then the third page, it's back to old business. I don't know if there's something hosed up there, or did we hop around?
We may have hopped around. I think we hopped around because town council was with us that night.
Okay, because I'm just trying to figure that out from the times, but you can't really.
Yeah, I think I moved it up. So we hopped around. Anything else in question?
I didn't look at it.
Do you want to table that? Or, Mike, did you read it through? Did you read it through? Did you have any other questions?
No, just the organization.
Okay. Katie Grace, did you have any comments on the August 15th?
I didn't get a chance to review that one yet.
Okay. We can hold that to the next meeting for review.
Good.
2023 meeting schedule. Let's hold that till we have more board members here. Shore Road peer review discussion with Grieves Engineering. Jeff Walsh, just briefly on a clarification of the request from the board, I think for your estimate, correct?
Good evening, thank you. In my discussion with Steve Zisk, I understood that there is not a design engineer on this part of the project. So I'm just concerned that we'd be serving that role. Our role is to be a reviewer for the Conservation Commission, and I don't mind offering an opinion about the capacity of the 12-inch culvert across Sugar Road. But it's just that, it's an opinion, and I want to make sure we're not pigeonholed into being thought of as the design engineer or even asked to provide services that could be construed as design services. There's a number of factors that go into this. Not only is there a culvert that crosses the road, but there's some kind of down gradient drainage system that gets the water from the culvert down to Wallen Lake. And you know, as far as peer review goes, normally we review somebody else's work and give an opinion on that. So that's why I'm before the board, or the commission. I just want to make sure we're clear on what we're being asked and whether or not it's prudent for us to provide those services.
Okay, thank you. Board? So I think the 12-inch culvert is what we were requesting the review of. But if there aren't any design calculations associated with that review, you're right, we don't want you designing anything. So it's hard to give, you could give an estimate based on the information that you've been given. I don't know if you've done any other review of this area, but we're hoping for, you know, someone to say that that 12-inch is acceptable for that area. So if you come back, let's just say you're hired, you come back and say, I need a calculation, then I think the person installing it should give you that application, that calculation.
Sure. And I wouldn't be against us providing even estimates of flow to the culvert area, and then comparing hydraulic capacity of the 12-inch culvert. There's three different things that can dictate the flow of water through a culvert, and that's whether the culvert's inlet controlled, in that the amount of water that can pass through the culvert is controlled by how fast the water can get into the pipe. The pipe can be barrel controlled, which is what a lot of people think of, where a 12-inch diameter pipe with such and such material laid at a slope of whatever gives you hydraulic capacity of X. That's great, but that's not always the driving factor. And then lastly, a culvert can be outlet controlled, whereby if there were impounded water, forcing a bag of water in the culvert, that would reduce the hydraulic capacity. I don't think you have a situation with that at this particular location, but the other two do come to mind and would play into this. So, you know, I can provide estimates, if you will, of those capacities, estimates of flow to this area, and just leave it at that for the board's consideration. And depending upon what we find, that may warrant the board to explore with the applicant further, changing the pipe beyond the 12-inch to something greater if hydraulic capacity were a concern, and if the down gradient receiving water could accept that flow if the culvert were upsized beyond the 12-inch.
Okay.
It is my understanding there's an 8-inch there now. It was a 12-inch pipe over a year ago, and I understand that beyond looking to potentially replace this 8-inch pipe to be back in kind with the 12-inch was there, this consideration being made was whether the 12-inch was even inadequately sized to begin with.
Right, there was a variety of sizes of pipes. I mean, it was alleged when they pulled it out, but I think your scope of work should just address the proposed replacement of the 12-inch pipe, and then with those calculations included, so that the board can make a determination. I think that if you were to do the exercise for the 12-inch and then it was suitable, I think that would be sufficient for the board for the review. I don't think we're going to get anything else from the person that's installing it or any other outside person.
Sure.
So I think that's a good way to go, because if it's way off, then we need to request other information. But I think right now in front of you is, if we replace the 8-inch pipe that's installed currently with a 12-inch pipe, would that be acceptable? I don't want you to design, I don't want you to have, the recommendation or install pipe size. You just need to tell us this 12-inch, yes or no, and this is the reason why.
Gotcha. And to that point, I think I'd probably be better off, I don't know if I can give you the yes or no, I can give you the yes if, no if. In
Okay.
other words,
That's, that's acceptable.
in other words, yeah, it'll accept rainfall from a half-inch storm event, or a 3-inch storm event, or a 6-inch storm event. And put it in the perspective that way to help the commission better understand the hydraulics associated with this.
Yes, perfect,
Okay.
perfect. Board,
Sounds good.
okay? Katie Grieves?
Tracy?
Yes?
Yep. So procedurally, as you know, we have a limited amount of meetings left this year, and to help speed things up. Do you want to, technically we'd have to get his estimate, wait till the next meeting in November, prove that, or do you want to do not to exceed? So I don't know what the ballpark would be on this, but if it's something that's not to exceed, whatever. I don't know, Jeff can give out a number, if he thinks it's going to be $5,000, $10,000, and you could do a vote on if it's under a certain threshold, that you can just go ahead and proceed with it, or
Yes.
without voting on it. So we're going to waste a month and a half just waiting for the procedural votes on this.
Yes, that would be fine. Not to exceed 3,000, do you think that would
I
be
think that's a
acceptable?
good ballpark.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I will entertain a motion to authorize the peer review not to exceed $3,000 for the Shore Road culvert analysis.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco,
Second.
second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye.
Thank you.
Let us know if it's more money.
Understood. Thank you.
Do what you can do with that money.
I don't think I'll be able to get you a proposal. I'm leaving for vacation very early Friday morning. I'll be gone for a week, so I'm frantic this week, but as soon as I get back, I'll get that high on my priority list.
Okay, thank
So our
you very
next
much.
meeting is November 7th and then December 5th, so as long as, procedurally, if it's under $3,000 and we get the ball rolling, and then hopefully you can have something by the 7th, if not, then by, you can start working on it by the 5th or the 5th.
Okay. Sounds good, Steve.
Thanks, Jeff, for coming in. I know you're busy tonight.
You're welcome. Well, that's all right. I appreciate the break from where I'm going next.
Thank you.
Good night,
We
everybody.
appreciate, thank you, you too. We appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Next item, project update 105 and 123 Gilboa Street, CRG Services Management LLC. Who is here on behalf of that discussion item?
I am Tom Morton from Beals Associates.
Good evening.
I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to you.
Yes, yes.
Quite a bit. So last week, we had a few phone calls back and forth with Mr. Zisk regarding some confusion that some of the contractors on site had with plan dates. So if you recall, the way we did the plan sets is we had an initial set that went in, I believe, February of 2022. And we went through both Conservation Commission and Planning Board relatively concurrently, pretty much the same pattern. And then issued one final plan set that addressed all of your concerns as well as all the Planning Board concerns all in one set. So when the contractor was initially starting to lay out some of the erosion controlled area, they had the older plans for reasons unbeknownst to me, but they did. And just wanted to make sure they were using the right ones. So there were several back and forth phone calls with the contractor as well. At the end of it all, a week ago today, I went out there and looked at it myself. I was happy with it. There was still some concern later on in the week. I had a conversation with Mr. Zisk and Matthew Roy. So just to make sure, on Friday, this past Friday, I sent one of my engineers out with some GPS survey equipment to make sure all the erosion control barriers in the right spot. And it is, with one exception, and that's the area between the building and the pond. They actually put the erosion control barrier 30 feet closer to the building than it needed to be. So that's good, a good start. They have been cutting trees. I think they're just about wrapped up with the tree clearing. They have not done any earthwork yet because they have not received their NPDES notification from EPA. That should be coming in on Thursday. So they will not be doing any earthwork until at least Thursday this week. The prior owner, however, which I'm sure this is just added to the confusion, without the knowledge of CRG, without the knowledge of Placo, the general contractor, without our knowledge, without anybody's knowledge, have been removing material from that site as fast as they possibly can. To date, we believe they've taken about 65,000 yards out. That's a huge problem. So CRG is in discussions with them, get them to stop.
Could you repeat who has been removing the material?
The firm,
Who is that? McIntyre Loan?
McIntyre. Where? No.
We're losing you.
Is that any better?
Maybe. Who's making the calculation of the cubic yardage? Where did you get the 65,000 from?
So far that we've got from the material.
Sorry, we're losing you, Todd. You're frozen.
No.
Todd, why don't you just close out and reconnect?
Steve, have you heard of this earth removal?
No.
Okay. And I don't believe they have an earth removal permit on site active at this moment.
Yeah, I think the work is probably all outside the commission's jurisdiction. It's probably planning board or
Yes.
zoning.
50% of this board right now is on planning board, so if Todd comes back again, I'd like to have that calculation submitted to the community development director. But as far as you're concerned, as the jurisdictional activity, the tree clearing is all matching up with the approved plan, correct?
Well, I mean, they've gone out there a couple of times and it looks like they have. Another thing I wanted to have them discuss was there's two monitoring and consultants that are going to be monitoring the project. One is is hired by the contractor, and I think they've got a person on site. And I wanted them to go out before they started clearing trees to give a monitoring report initially. There's nothing like they did that, but I'd like to get one sooner than later. And then the town is going to hire, I think, looking to hire Ecotech, the Community Development Department, the building inspector, and the commission will be sucked into that, that peer review also on behalf of the town, which would be paid for by the applicant, similar to the big project that's happening with the Tri-Town with Uxbridge, Douglas, and Northbridge on that big Blackstone logistic projects. They go up there and they do a report weekly. And so there's a report from the contractor's environmental monitoring company, and then there's a peer review from the town's consultant to make sure everything's done copacetically and correctly. So we're still waiting to have those monitoring peer review people set up. Hopefully they'll be in place sooner than later, and then Todd ever comes back, maybe he can give us an update on that.
Would you like the board to have a formal request for estimate on that task for our Ellen Ecotech to
Yeah, I
do
mean,
the
yeah,
environmental monitoring on behalf of the board as well as the other boards.
If Todd comes back and it's, if the town is slow on the other boards or slow on hiring Ecotech, it'd be prudent maybe for the town to get them on board sooner than later.
So the mechanism for the applicant to pay for the outside consultant in this case, would that be coming from, the request coming from the Conservation Commission or Planning Board?
Well, we have the ability to do it through our order of conditions. And, a lot of the earthwork is, our jurisdiction is within 100 feet of, or 200 feet of the perennial stream or the bridge, and a lot of it's outside of it. I think 80% of the rest of the project is covered by different departments, so.
All right, so to get the ball rolling, we should just authorize the peer review monitoring and
As it relates to the order of conditions.
as it relates to the order of conditions.
I mean, the stormwater management's part of that too, so technically,
It's the whole site.
it's the whole site, but there's
Yeah.
other, right, but planning and building, they have other aspects too, so.
The other aspects, so the scope of the monitoring, who's going to formulate that?
But,
We want it to be all encompassing.
and I think that's being originated by community development and the building department. I think the planning board was initiating that, and
Can it be adjusted? Can the scope of review be adjusted after we vote so that this can get monitored as soon as possible?
well, then we can have them start working on our part,
But I like the ability to expand on their scope to encompass all aspects of the project.
Right, so Todd, what we're talking about is a monitoring company, so,
Yeah.
right, so there's a third-party monitoring company through the applicant, which, I don't think I was hoping that a monitoring report would have been submitted prior to starting the letting clearing, but that hasn't happened on either through the applicant or the town monitoring consultants.
So they will be doing their first monitoring on Monday.
So they have that company, and then town's looking to hire Ecotech. And it's my understanding that that's coming through planning board or building department, and it's going to encompass the order of conditions in that overall scope of review, right? Because the order of conditions is part of the site, but not the entire site. So, so that mechanism, and then that's going to be paid by the applicant. So. Procedurally, it's a lot easier, Tracy, if that's handled internally with the town through the planning board, or where they're used to doing that type of oversight on the fees and the consultant, the 53 and a half, and that type of review.
53G.
53G, yeah. So I think commission will be incorporated into that review. If that doesn't get going within the next week or two, then the commission should have something in place on their own if work is starting within their jurisdiction. You know what the time frame would be, Todd, for work, and that's to be started. They're already clearing within our jurisdiction, right?
Yes, yeah, just clearing trees, so they haven't removed stumps, they're not doing any grubbing, like I said, no earthwork yet. The inspections are going to start on Monday of next week, and I have asked them already, and I'll do it again just to remind them, but I've already asked them to make sure that any inspections that are done on behalf of the contractor by that reviewer are sent to not just us, but also the town. So Steve, you gave those directives. And I guess the building inspector would as well.
So there is going to be a review, and that's through the consultant of the applicant.
And then you had said you were trying to hire Art Allen to get him going up there as well, too.
I believe,
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
yes.
So we're just trying to figure out, do we need a vote to authorize Art Allen for the monitoring? And then maybe the planning board authorizes the expansion of his scope beyond the conservation jurisdiction. I don't know if it's somewhat of an emergency because there was, 30 emails back and forth, or if this can wait until, not this Thursday, but next Thursday.
I mean, if planning board hires him by next Thursday and that gets going, then it'd be cleaner if it goes to planning board.
Okay,
And
okay,
then I think as long as Todd says there's a monitoring company on board and they're gonna start doing their reports, I'm happy with that.
okay.
If we don't have something by the 7th, then, that should be a red flag, but hopefully we'll have both companies up and running before the 7th of November, our next meeting.
Does that sound good, Todd?
I'm fine with, before my internet rudely interrupted our discussion, and it's giving me a flash that it's unstable again.
Yeah, you're still frozen.
Good.
Can you at least hear me?
Yes.
I would shut your video off, Todd. I would just shut your video off so you're not buffering. Just
Let's get that first any better. No, it doesn't want any better.
It's okay. It's all right. Thank you for the update.
So we had a question on the, Tracy had a question on the cubic yardage.
Yeah. So, it was flown with a drone to pick up contours and compared to what was originally there, probably middle of last week. And that's where they came up with 70 to 75,000 yards. The plan now is to wait until we can get McIntyre to stop removing material. We're gonna fly it again, and we're gonna figure out the total yardage of what was removed. Now, if you recall, we were trying to make that a balanced site such that we don't bring anything in, we don't bring anything out. No, 25,000 or total yards less material, they have to adjust it. The good news, when you set that size, when you adjust for 75,000 yards, you're talking a couple of inches, not cool. So,
Well, you do understand that that triggers the earth removal bylaw in Douglas.
that has to, we're gonna have to figure out what McIntyre's doing on that, because the CRG's not doing it, we're not doing it, we didn't authorize it, we didn't even know what was going on, so first, we gotta get to why he's removed.
Well, it's for sure that it's been removed, correct?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got a shadow of a doubt, the CRG's been taken.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right?
All right. Thank you very much for the update. So I would anticipate that we get Art Allen on board for the monitoring with your monitoring team, and then we can make sure that the erosion control lines and everything matches with the plans. Thank you.
In the meantime, if there's anything else that I can do or updates you need, please don't hesitate to ask.
Anything?
Thanks for coming in, Todd.
Anything?
All right.
Katie Grace, anything for Todd?
What's that?
I was just asking Katie Grace, she's on the line. Anything, any questions?
No, I didn't have any questions on that one. I appreciate the background information, but I agree that a lot of the earth removal is probably non-jurisdictional, but it'd be very interesting to figure out what's going on there, obviously.
Thank
I
you.
would very much agree with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good night, folks.
You too. Okay, request for a certificate of compliance. There was a clerical error of 54 U Street, Orbson Corp. Steve, if you could just refresh our memory on this one.
Yeah, so this is the one that's kind of by the trunk line that was approved a couple weeks, maybe last meeting, I think. It's Steve, number 143-1060. Inadvertently, we put 1030 on the top right-hand corner, if you caught that. The applicant didn't catch it before he recorded it, so there's a booking page associated with that wrong DEP number. Was able to fix the clerical error and then give him the original. We always have a copy. So they'll have actually 2 order conditions on the property. One is for DEP number 143-1030 and one is for DEP number 143-1060. We'd like to just issue a certificate of compliance with the book and page number of what that 1030 was recorded at the registry of deeds, so we can just expunge it and then move forward with the correct one.
Very nice word, expunge. Okay. Board, let's have a formal vote to issue the certificate of compliance for 54 U Street with the revision as previously mentioned.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco, second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Excuse me.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay, thank you very much. Next item, request for a certificate of compliance, 13 U Street. Steve, if you just want to give us a quick
And I
synopsis.
think the balances are there too. So just a little executive summary. So back in 2007, there was a violation on the property. They started building a horse stables. And so I went through all the meeting minutes. So the commission went out, gave a cease and desist back in 2007, 2008. The commission did the site walk. They requested they file a notice of intent, which they did. They filed a notice of intent. They didn't do any more work since the violation. With the notice of intent, they actually submitted a plan, which was an as-built plan. So the order commission was approved with the as-built plan. And so they had the order conditions. It was approved by the commission. The as-built plan was already done. It was almost part of the plan. It's unique, and no other work was done. And so they actually reported the order conditions back in 2008. And now it's coming up in the title search because they're looking to sell the property. And so I went out there, I took a video, I sent everyone the link. It's been dormant. They haven't done it. Even the stable that was approved, it has, everything's grown back along where the resource area was. And it looks like it hasn't been used in a long time. So that's the kind of executive summary. It's they technically maybe shouldn't even file the order conditions at the registry of deeds since they had the as-built and it was more of a violation thing. So that's where they stand. So
Would you like to say anything?
No, it's going to potentially hold up our closing if we don't.
Name and address. Name and address for the record, if you want to.
Deborah and Scott Vallis, 13 U Street.
Okay. Board, any questions on this? Katie Grace, any questions on this?
So, did they build the horse barn, or they just started construction, got the violation, and stopped?
No, the barn is outside of it. It was the fence. It was the fence in the paddock. And so that was built and that was approved. And the commission had them put some riprap down and stabilize it during the notice of intent. And the commission asked for an as-built for the work that was actually done. And so when they issued the order of conditions, the work was completed.
Right, so it is kind of an after the fact filing.
Okay. So we have everything.
Yes, and it's been,
The as-bilt's on the folder on the counter with the certificate of compliance. So we have the as-bilt, so.
it's been a long time also.
So they thought they were done and they recorded the order of conditions, which triggers this process because they were unbeknownst to that years later it's coming up.
So I would.
No, as long as we have it.
Yep. I would request a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 13 U Street.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco,
Second.
second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. All set.
Well, the balance is, we'll go sign that tonight and then you'll probably pick it up with Jen at the building department or
Jen
the
Kuchar.
development.
Yep. Community Development, yep.
Warning? Perfect, thank you so
Do
much.
you guys need me to sign it tomorrow? Because I could stop by town hall and sign it, or whatever you have tonight.
I'll leave them all out on Jen's desk and leave a note for you to
Okay,
sign. Great.
yep.
Yeah, so give her till like noon time.
Because our meeting is with the attorney at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, so noon.
That's kind of close.
Perfect.
That would be
No.
wonderful. Thank
Not
you
too early.
so much. Right.
You didn't arrive too early. Just,
Thank you.
just in time. Good
Okay,
night.
thank you, Steve.
115 Shore Road, emails from Madeline Myers on work being done at 115 Shore Road. So that is under our discussion, but I think it's just a note for the board. You have something in your packet, and I'm not seeing her online, so I'd like to just have that for the board's information until we open the public hearing on 115 Shore Road. Okay, old business, 7 PM, public hearing continued, notice of intent, 159 Wallen Lake Road, lot number 1. We have a new plan that was submitted. I think we were pretty much good with the plan previously. Is anyone here on behalf of this application presenting?
Yes, Peter Engel, Nuclear Engineering.
Good evening. Tell
How are you?
us your updates. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Yeah, so basically, after that last meeting, the only real issue that was brought up was a permanent anti-creep kind of thing along the wood line there. So we had basically a row of boulders with the requested signage demarcating the jurisdictional area. So I think the property owner's happy with what we proposed, and hopefully it works for the commission.
Okay. Steve, could you pull up the plan for us? The revised plan? And board, do we have any questions regarding this here?
Did you give me an electronic copy, Peter?
I believe I did.
Or Peter, if you have it available, we can make you a host.
Let's see.
You can make him a host. Yep. Yes, make co-host.
One second.
And is anyone in the audience having questions or concerns regarding this hearing for 159 Wallen Lake Road, lot number 1? Raise your hand. Be in the audience, not seeing anything.
Let me see how to do this on my phone.
Oh, geez, okay. Maybe
I do
Steve,
have, Steve, I emailed it to you on the 3rd.
Let me see. Yeah, let me see. It's gonna come out.
I believe actually that may not be the right one.
And the 3rd?
Actually, I think that's the wrong one.
come on, Peter, you can do it.
I know, struggling.
What's the final revised? It's the,
In the last week. Maybe I'm not seeing it.
I have the hard copy. You want me to bring the hard copy?
Sure, thank you. Is it in our file here too?
I'll bring it down.
Thank you.
there's one for you.
Thank you so much. So we've got the anti-creep boulders, and what was the other revision from the last time?
You had asked for, I think, three signs
Okay.
indicating,
I don't know if I asked for those. I think you asked for them. You invented that. I don't think. So we have the note, and we just want to make sure that the limit of work stays within what we're seeing on this. Oh, yeah. Good?
Looking good, yep.
Okay, board. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Still move.
Motion made by Mr. Greco. Second by Mr. Harris.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Mark Harris, aye.
I got the lie.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. And then I will entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for 159 Walm Lake Road with our standard conditions. Revised plan date. Not sure. October 5th, 2022.
Still move.
Motion made by Mr. Harris.
Second.
Second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Mark Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. All set, Peter. Thank you so much for coming.
thank you, have a good night.
You too. 7 PM, notice of intent, public hearing continued, amended notice of intent 115 Shore Road, Robert and Diane Miller. Possible votes. So, do we have a request for a continuance on this, Steve?
We do.
Okay.
No, not for notice.
I'm just wondering the standard procedures. We typically have a courtesy to extend the date.
Yeah, we should, I know we're in negotiation, there should be a letter or a request from the.
Because the applicant is the one that should be requesting it, the board is not the acting person. I just don't understand, this was the second time in a row that this has happened.
Right, I know Brian has been, the town council's been working with them directly, so I'm not sure.
So the applicant is essentially would need to either get an answer from this board or allow the board a continuance or an extension for time to act. Correct?
I'd rather have Brian interest, because I know he's been talking about them.
I want to send a strong message that if they're not going to be present for the hearing, that they request a continuance in writing. And also the board needs to be aware that the order of conditions has expired today. And we cannot give an extension, so any activity is in violation of the commission and the Wetlands Protection Act on that site. Because the entirety is within the 100-foot. So I think this is not acceptable for them to not have something in writing requesting us to continue their hearing for the amended NOI.
Okay.
Procedurally, I think that this is in violation. I could be wrong. I'll reserve my rights to be wrong on this, but I think that they need to grant.
No, I think you're right, Tracy. I think that the issue is that we have set precedent with a lot of times that we just continue, but I mean, this is not the first time. So, and because that they've expired, now we have a problem.
Yeah, I think it's a big problem. I think all activity needs to cease on the lot, and we need to notify, the board should send them a notification stating that their order has expired. Any additional work, they will have to file for a new order of conditions. And I actually think this amended order cannot even be granted by this board, because we can't amend the original order anymore because it's expired.
Right.
So this has created an issue.
I'm gonna talk to legal counsel tomorrow, reach out to him to see if he could, because he was gonna draft up the emergency order, see if he can draft up the letter to send to him procedurally, and I recommend it comes from town council.
That's fine, but it needs to be sent out this week. I just don't understand how everyone else is going by the same rules, but this applicant has decided to allow their order of conditions to lapse. We've issued an extension for 3 years. It's lapsed. They filed for an amended order. They didn't want to close that out, and now they cannot amend that old expired order. It's not, so no, there should be no activity on that lot from moving forward today forward. It's not, I mean, we should just close this out and deny the amended order because we can't amend an expired order.
Is the expiration today or was it like yesterday?
Today.
Okay.
So I don't see how we even issue.
No, I agree with you, Tracy. There's no mechanism for us to approve that, given the fact that the existing order has now expired. And the applicant's not present to speak on it.
And there's nothing in writing requesting us, saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I realized that my order has expired today. Please act on my amended. Board?
I agree.
Agreed.
Steve?
Yeah, it's the order is expired today, and then you can't, the amended, when you do an amended notice of intent, you can't extend the time limit.
But do you agree that this board is not even able to issue an amended order, or could we issue an amended order of conditions today if the applicant had been present and modified the plan with the recommendations that we had requested?
Well,
Because next meeting's gonna be too late.
well, I believe you can only extend the amended order. You can only extend, if you voted to approve the amended order of conditions, you could extend it to today.
Oh, okay. So we should probably close out this hearing and deny the request for the amended order of conditions.
Given that town council's reviewing all this,
Yes, we have been reviewing this for over a year and, I don't know, 4 months maybe? This is not, this should have been resolved by now.
Is Steve gonna notify them as to what?
He's waiting for town council to send them a letter.
whatever your decision, I think town council, because we've been in this pickle for a year and a half, that whatever determination we have, or the commission has, it's the letter of enforcement, the denial, whatever your determination is written by town council to them. So it's properly worded correctly. So there's no, it's not ambiguous on what the meaning, what the commission wants.
Okay, so let's play this out. So even if we were to issue an amended order of conditions, it's invalid because they've already received the extension for time to act. That did not take into account the tolling for COVID. So I'm not even sure if October 17th, 2022, if they did 3 years, would be 2019, October 2019, then you have 462 days, I think, for tolling on top of the original expiration date
Oh, so.
for a valid permit.
The extension permit is today.
Okay.
That was approved 3 years ago. So you're saying it could, by the
Yeah.
the COVID, it really could be extended a
Yeah.
couple more years.
I think, yep, I think it's a year and some odd days. So what I'd like to do is, anyone here on behalf of this public hearing? No. Okay, I'd like to,
Yeah.
very brief and nothing specific, because the applicant is not here.
Yeah, so I guess I don't need to comment. You were just asking if anyone's here.
Name and address, please.
Oh.
Yep,
119 Shore Road, Orange.
thank you.
Yeah. So I was really just responding to what you were asking if anyone's here. I don't necessarily need a comment.
Okay.
But I think Madeline and Evie are also there. I guess work has continued. So I don't know how this all works, but I don't know if the work is just happening anyway, like without the permission. So I'm not sure about that. I know that work is continuing. I don't know exactly what needs permission and what doesn't, but so I don't know what will happen if you say they don't have the permission, because they might just do the work anyway. I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah, so just to clarify, so we had the email from the Madeline Myers on 115.
Yes.
Which I forwarded to the commission, the building inspector, the town council, and to the building inspector and community development as requested. And then I also asked the town council, because he's working with them on the settlement of the pipe, is a request for an update from the Millers and from the applicant at this meeting. And does he want that to come from me or town council? And the town council said he reached out with them, and he couldn't attend this meeting because he had a public town meeting. So for a different town, fall town meeting, but he'd give us an update. But I haven't seen that since this meeting, so I did ask for an update from the applicant based on the email from the Myers, but I haven't received anything. I also did do a site walk during the rain on Friday. Took a video of the wall and sent that to everybody, and also to the Board of Health and to the building inspector to review that also, just because of the email we got from Madeline Myers. So.
Hello, board. This is Evie Sutter. I'm at 117 Shore Road with my mother, Madeline Myers, who's also here from 117 Shore Road.
Hello, I'm Madeline
Hi.
Myers.
Just thank you very much for, listening to my mother's concerns and, for just, weighing the options before you. My mother is very concerned about the water runoff, as you know, the capacity of the pipe, and, we really appreciate your looking into all these things. Mama, do you want to add anything?
I'd like to just say that when the original raised septic was reached by the flood, there was no wall. The wall that I'm talking about is a wall between their house and sort of the edge of my property.
Right.
Anyway, it's a concrete wall. It's quite thick. It's an unbelievable thing. It acts as a Well, that wall has since been reinforced with more crushed stone added more dirt to raise the level again. So now what looked like at one time a raised septic is now a completely raised area, much higher than it had previously been, for the last 50, 60 years. It's just, if I stand at my property, that wall is at least 4 feet higher than my land. I don't know what this entails in the future, but it looks like if it rains really hard, those little rocks will continue to come into my yard. They're little tiny crushed stones. It just makes it very difficult. And the work continues no matter what anyone seems to say.
Right. We understand that. That seems to be the picture. What has the zoning enforcement officer said regarding the change of topography and the enforcement of their special permit that they received to construct the house that's existing there? Have you requested enforcement?
Are you asking us?
Yes.
Have we requested what? I'm sorry.
Enforcement of the special permit that was issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals to construct this home.
No, we have not.
Okay.
I wasn't even aware that we had
So
that.
that's what I've been saying multiple times. Does it meet the requirements, the presented plan that was presented? So this is outside of Conservation Commission. It appears like they're doing the amended plan without actually getting the amended order of conditions granted to them. But that's for another thing. So you need to seek other avenues. You need to use the special permit that was granted and request the zoning enforcement officer to enforce the zoning if you feel as though that is not matching up with what was presented. And if the wall is a specific height, if the terrain has been changed, the topography, something has been interrupted, you need to seek other avenues besides this board. We can only address what has been presented to us.
Understood.
Understood.
Which I have, you're welcome, I have brought this up in the past, like probably 8 months ago, 10 months ago, maybe a year ago even. All the avenues, this is why zoning is very important. Because once something is given permission to be constructed, it has to be, there's safeties in place that allow it to be constructed in a manner that will not be detrimental to the neighborhood, which is specifically what a special permit finding has to have. So I'm not sure why no one has requested enforcement up until this time.
This is Jean Lawrence.
Yes.
And I just, so your point is well taken, and we will do that. I didn't know there was a zoning enforcement. I did contact, several months ago, the building inspector, Mr. Fraser, and I actually was going to get raised tonight. So long story short, when I talked to him, it was, some time ago when he first saw the place, he seemed like he thought there were questions, but when I talked to him last time, he said something that concerned me. He said that the water was caused by blocking culverts at Madeline's and my house, not by the other culvert, which is completely not true. And there are no culverts at my house in Madeline's. And then that was also said to me by Diane Miller, like this was some new story. And I said, you saw a culvert here? And I said, can you show it to me? And she said, I can't, because when Madeline repaired her driveway, she covered it up with stone. And so it was concerning to me. So I actually wanted to ask tonight advice. I think, but we don't want to put it all on you. You guys have done more, we appreciate it. And so we will go. I wasn't aware there was zoning enforcement. I did want to try and speak to the zoning board so that they would be aware of what they have created here. because we went to the zoning board and told them that we were concerned about all this, and we kind of were, we were dismissed pretty much. So anyway.
There's a mechanism, sorry if I could interrupt, there's a mechanism. There is a mechanism and you have to follow the channels. So the zoning enforcement officer is the building inspector here in town. So there is a specific channel and steps that you need to take. And there is also a Board of Health as-built that is on file. You can request that digitally. I don't know if you'll have to pay something maybe for the hard copy, but there's other methods to uncover some discrepancies or things that are happening that maybe weren't approved. So you need to take those steps. And I did say this, you bring up the special permit that's recorded at the registry. It is recorded incorrectly, but you can find it, and pursue your avenues as abutters. This board is not going to be the only people that are going to try to remedy this. There has to be, there are other available avenues. So we are doing what we can do, but there's an expansion on other people that can get involved to take care of the issues that are happening.
Copy that. Thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Being a little strong, but we don't want to keep this issue going on for years. I'll be way too old and tired by that time. So I want to help you guys and to remedy and come up with a mutually agreeable solution for the issues that are happening there. But we need to get more people involved. I think we need to get every single person that you possibly can get involved in this situation to finally come to a resolution. So if I can just say, because you all might see reality a little closer to what we do. If we had, if there was a joint meeting where the building inspector, so I was going to raise and they could ask the building inspector to come to this meeting, but maybe that's not appropriate. I don't want to put it all on you. But sometimes we can go to someone and not get the reaction we're looking for. Yeah, no, it's not appropriate because we're a Conservation Commission, so we have our duties, and then there's a specific method to request enforcement. If you get denied enforcement, there's a specific method by law that you have available to you. So that's where I would start.
Okay.
So I would start doing a formal request, have everything in writing, the documentation to get it. I think we're very close to a remedy. I do think so. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I just think that going about it the right way can maybe move the needle. Because we're seeing tonight that the applicant hasn't even requested a continuance or shown up for the hearing. So, anyone else in the audience, questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Just simple, no, nothing in depth. No? Okay. All right, board, any questions? I think everybody knows where I'm going with this, so. Katie Grace?
I have no questions.
Okay, all right. I'll entertain a motion to continue the amended notice of intent 115 Shore Road, Robert and Diane Miller to November 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
But now I have a question. What are we continuing?
The public hearing for the amended notice of intent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so even if it's determined that they've definitely expired, then that's one thing, but I'm pretty sure that they have the COVID luxury of additional tolling days for the validity of their permit.
All right, well then so moved.
Motion made by Katie Grace.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay. We're getting a little feedback.
I don't know, that's not,
Okay.
I don't know if it's somebody online.
Okay, next item, public hearing, continued notice of intent, Shore Road Lot 299, parcel 7.16, Cliff Van Reed. We have a request for continuance. From Margaret Bacon,
We have.
until they have further confirmation that the drainage issues have been resolved. Steve, are we putting this out to December 5th?
Correct.
Okay. Anyone on the line, questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Seeing none, so I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for Shore Road Lot 299 parcel 7.16 to December 5th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco,
Second.
second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay, thank you. Did you want to say anything?
No, I think we'd like to know what's happening with the pipe replacement.
Okay. Steve, do you have Mr. and Mrs. Van Reed on your email for the pipe replacement updates? Or their attorney?
Yeah.
Could we add them?
Well,
Could you request that Attorney Winter add Attorney Lane so that they can stay in the loop on that? The pipe replacement, it does involve them.
Certainly, I'll email Mr. Winter about that.
Okay, and they do have an open public hearing as well, so any information that is, their lot is subject to should probably be forwarded to them.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Good, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else, Steve?
There's a voucher to be signed.
Mm-hmm.
And in that blue folder, if you look in there, is there something from MACC you want to read?
Oh, sure. I could read that. So this is October 11th, 2022, Douglas Board of Selectmen, Municipal Signing 28. Dear Board of Selectmen, I am very pleased to inform you that Eric Harris, associated with the Douglas Conservation Commission, successfully completed 8 units of the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions Fundamentals for Massachusetts Conservation Commissioners Training Program and has received a certificate of achievement for that accomplishment. Congratulations. So it does go on to explain the program. We congratulate Eric for undertaking this training, as well as you and the Douglas Conservation Commission for recognizing the value of training and commission work and supporting this important training for your commission. Enclosed is a media release announcing Eric's achievement for forwarding to your local newspaper. We believe participation in continuing education on wetland and open space issues is an essential aspect of the work of Conservation Commission members and staff. We hope you will encourage commissioners to participate and assure that the commission budget includes adequate funding for the modest training fees necessary for participation. So this is from the MACC. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Eric.
Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you.
Yes, and congratulations to Katie Grace for making a human. A little bit, a little different. But we congratulate you, and there is a present on the way from the agent and the board. So hopefully you'll get that soon. But
Thank you.
yes, congratulations.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful, love it. Wish she was here tonight. I'd like to hold her, but.
He was a little too screamy at the beginning.
Perfect, love it, love it, love that sound. Okay, so Steve, do you have anything else?
I don't.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
So move. Yeah.
Adjourn?
To adjourn, yep.
Motion made by Mr. Harris to adjourn?
Second.
Second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Marco, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Thank you very much, everyone.